Welcome back, troops, to Let's Tab 59. So today I do another airgun type video. Now, I'm no professional shooter or air gunner or no professional airgun reviewer. There's lots of great channels on YouTube here that you can find out a lot better information, more professionally done videos than I do. So I just want to get that out of the way. I normally do my tab videos, but I do like a good airgun. Now, I've only got a couple of air guns. I've done a little chat about them before. A couple of rifles there and a pistol that I've done. Springer and a nitro rifle. I don't have a PCP. I used to. Now, I got contacted by a guy called Tony Belas. Tony Belas works for DAYSTATE Brocock. Most of you have heard of DAYSTATE rifles. Some of you might not have heard of Brocock, but it's a sister company, make fantastic rifles. And Tony emailed me and said, look, Keith, would you like the loan of one of our rifles, namely the BRK GHOST in 22 PCP sub 12 foot-pound air rifle, and have a look at it and play with it? And it's no money getting handed over. I'm not getting paid to do this. It's just Tony asked me if I'd be interested in loaning it and to see what I think about it, because this particular rifle, the BRK GHOST, is a Bullpup Air Rifle. And Tony's interested in what my thoughts, because I'm ex-army, and we had the SA-80, which is a Bullpup rifle. He was interested to know what my thoughts were on a Bullpup Air Rifle, the ergonomics, etc. So I ripped his hand off. I went, yes, please, Tony, please. So Tony's kindly sent me the rifle for about 4 weeks to have a look at. I've not really touched it. I've had a look in the box. I've not fired it. I'm going to fire it today and have a look at what it shoots like and talk about it and look at it. Now, just a quick note on Tony from DAYSTATE and from Brocock. Tony, before he worked for those, had a long, full 22-year career in the British Army, in the infantry. In fact, Tony was in the Queen's Regiment, which later, into the early 90s, some of you will know the Queen's Regiment amalgamated with the Royal Hampshire Regiments, and we formed the Princess of Wales' Royal Regiment. And Tony caught that. Tony, just on that changeover, that amalgamation, Tony became a member of the Princess of Wales, a founder member, if you like, of the Princess of Wales' Regiment, this regiment. And then just after the amalgamations, Tony's career came to its full 22 years, and he moved on and, as I say, worked for DAYSTATE and Brocock. So that's a bit about Tony. Now, in his own right, if you look at Tony online, you'll see that he's a fantastic shooter in his own right. He'll underplay it, but he's very, very good. So let's get on with it. Let's have a look at this rifle. It comes in this lovely hard case, as you can see. Let's get it out of the box and have a look at it. Now, I've set up a little range here in my back garden. It's just shy of 25 meters. It's a little bit of a breeze, but I can't really blame that on if I can't shoot properly. And I certainly won't be able to blame it on this rifle. So in the box, what do we got? Let's take the rifle out and put the rifle there first. So we've got a cut of the instruction manual and a quick setup of the BRK GHOST. Got a nice tin of Rangemaster Sovereign pellets, obviously in 2.2. I've not heard of these pellets before, but they're the recommended ones to go through this particular rifle. And they look like good quality pellets, so we shall see about them. Put that to the side. You get one magazine, one 11-shot magazine. We'll have a look at that in a moment as well. It's got some other bits and pieces, but it's also got a nice bipod. Now, bipods, great for bench shooting, target shooting, etc. You get much more precision shooting with these. However, when I go air gunning, it's normally pest control. Do a bit of plinking in my back garden, but I do pest control shooting on farms and things like that. So I don't use a bipod as a general rule. I don't use them because they don't really lend themselves to me out in the field. I suppose if I found somewhere I could set the bipod up in a barn or something, you know, rat shooting maybe, but I find that it just gets in the way for me. So for what I'm going to do, I don't use them, and I won't use them today on the shoot, but I'm sure that having those fitted will make you a better shot. So another excuse for me not shooting great, I'm not using the bipod legs. Right, let's get the case out of the way. It's a good old case, it's heavy, nice case. Put that down there for a moment and look at the air rifle itself. So let's get it round here. Where's my pointer? Let's have a look at it this way round. So Starting at the back then, we've got this butt plate. Now, there's a little wheel just inside here that you can undo, and that will allow you to slide that butt plate up and down. So it's a better fit for the firer. I've not touched anything. I'm going to shoot it as Tony has sent it me out the box. I'm not going to touch anything. So that's good. Nice skeleton butt, alloy butt. Just up here, we've got a cheek piece for a right-handed firer, but I'm reliably informed that this can be removed and turned round for a left-handed firer, and also the actual charging lever can be put on the other side. So if you're a left-handed firer, you can have that done, but I'm right-handed. That's how it's set up. So nice cheek piece, and you'll see just below the cheek piece here is the magazine housing. So that is the breech there, just in front of the magazine housing, because it's a bullpup. So a bit like the SA80. The SA80 magazine sits back here behind the pistol grip. And of course, as many of you know, a bullpup, it's compact, it looks like a carbine, but actually the difference is with a bullpup, you get a longer barrel, because this isn't just the barrel comes all the way here, all the way down inside there, right up to where the magazine housing is, the breech. So it's quite a long barrel, but it doesn't look a long barrel. That's the key difference with a bullpup. So, magazine housing. Then we come up here to the pistol grip. Very nice ergonomic pistol grip. Very solid, nice trigger guard. The trigger looks, I haven't fired it yet, the trigger looks really nice. It feels very, the way it's designed, the little plate on there, I like the size of that trigger. Just above the trigger there is a safety catch. Another similarity, if you like, with the SA80, because that's roughly where the safety catch is on the SA80, a little cross bolt safety catch right by the trigger here. Now, when you push it through this side, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but just on, that's their safety catch there when you push it through. And just around it is a little bit of red paint. So you can look down and you can see that it's on fire. It's set to fire. The safety catch is set to fire, the red paint showing. You just push it back through. That's really nice. A lot of air rifles, the safety catch only works when you cock the weapon, or the rifle, if you like. But on this, you can push the safety catch through, whatever you want to do. That's really nice. You can keep the safety catch on all the time, obviously, for safety. And just over on that side there, you can see there's a little power setting gauge for the pressure. I'll talk about that, because back here, there's a little wheel, and it's numbered. It goes minimum all the way up through the numbers to maximum. Now, whatever you set that on denotes how much power the rifle is going to deliver, the foot-pounds, if you like. And I believe when it's set right down at minimum, you're kicking out about 3 foot-pounds. I don't have a chronograph, so I can't measure that. It's set at maximum, so I'm guessing that's at sub 12 foot-pounds, somewhere around that. So that's what that little gauge is for. And then on this side, obviously, you've got a gauge here, just behind the bottle, that tells you how much air you've got in the bottle for the rifle. Charging lever just up here, as I say, just flick that back. Once you flick that back, you'll see here at the magazine housing, there's a pin, like a firing pin if you like. When you pull the cocking handle back, that allows the magazine to go in there. And then of course, when you bring it forward, that pin comes forward and pushes the pellet into the breech. Nice, I like that. Nice and simple. That's a lovely smooth action as well on the charging handle. Up here on top of the rifle, you've got a dovetail rail. And on this, you've got the dovetail rail, which then the Picatinny scope rail is fitted to. And then, of course, on top of the Picatinny, you've got the actual one-piece mount for this particular scope, which is very nice. I'll get onto that in a minute. So having the Picatinny rail on the dovetail rail, and then obviously the mount on top of the Picatinny, gives you a lot more flexibility in adjusting the scope for your own particular eye relief. Again, I haven't adjusted it. It's come out of the box. I've had a quick look and it seems just set right for me. So I'm very lucky. Whoever set this up must be very similar to me. So that's a nice touch. Then just forward of that, above this gauge, you can see there's a Picatinny rail here. So maybe you could fit a torch or a laser, something like that if you wish to do so. And then underneath there's a little bit of Picatinny rail there for the bipod. And then on the other side, again, a bit of Picatinny rail there, in case you want a torch or a laser on that side. So there's plenty to add on bits and pieces that you might like. Then underneath you can see is this carbon fibre PCP air bottle. And I believe when it's fully charged, you get around 300 shots, I believe. I'll have to check that. Nice carbon finished barrel and a lovely sound moderator on the end. We'll see how quiet that is in a minute. Now the scope, it's an MTC Viper Connect, and it's a 4 to 16. Let me just check the numbers because our memory's not brilliant. Let's see what the scope is actually doing. Yeah, it's a 4 to 16 magnification by 32 at the objective lens. So that's plenty. In fact, back here, this is what I love about this scope, is this eye cushion here. It means that if you don't have that, and your eye, obviously don't push your eye against that end of the scope when you fire it, you have that relief between your eye and the back of the scope. Now, in bright sunshine like this, sometimes you can get the sun reflecting down on that glass and back towards you, and that can be a bit of a nightmare. This should shroud that and stop that happening. So you can put your eye right up against this rubberized pad. It moves, so you can get this little flappy piece at the back. It's quite soft. You can get that around your eye socket and line it up how you like, and that will stop light coming in there. I think that's a really smart idea. And then just in front of that, you've got the focus ring, and then you've got the zoom, the magnification ring. And I've got this at, I'm going to get this at ×6 magnification, because at 25 meters, that's enough for me. Obviously, you've got the normal adjusting turrets for your to zero the rifle. On the left-hand side here, you've got a parallax adjuster, which is really nice. And obviously it's clamped. There's lovely mounts on this scope. I really like that. You've got like a single ring there, and then a wider double nut ring at the front, which is really cool. Little cap over the end of the scope to protect the objective lens. And again, you can see on this, it's got this like a sun shield, if you like, round the top to stop a bit of glare coming into the scope. I like that too. That's very neat. A little spring-loaded cap to protect the objective lens. All in all, it looks and feels fantastic. It weighs 3.6 kilos, the rifle. Let's have a quick look, because I didn't do it from memory. Yeah, 3.1 kilos. The rifle's 3.1. The scope, this particular scope's around 600 grams. So it's not heavy at all. It's got a lovely compact feel to it. Now, money. Let's talk a bit of money. So, depending where you get the rifle from, this BRK GHOST, you're looking at around £1,600. Then when you stick a scope on top of that, and this particular scope comes out at about £340, so you're just shy of £2,000. Now, I've had cars cheaper than that. I've run cars around less than £2,000 for a couple of years. So yes, it seems a lot of money for an air rifle, but air rifles aren't cheap, especially good quality ones, and especially PCPs. So you've got to remember where this has come from, what its heritage is. It's come from Daystate. And although, like I say, you might not have heard of Brocock, many of you have heard of Daystate. They still make Daystate rifles, but this is a sister company. So you can guarantee the quality, the workmanship, the craftsmanship is going to be at the same standards as Daystate. So, fantastic package. Right, what we're going to do is then, I'm going to show you, I'm going to charge the magazine, and I'm going to fire a 5-round group at a target I've got set up down there, and I'll show you that. I don't have the flashy camera works, editing works to switch it all around like I do on some of these airgun channels. I can't do that. I don't have the mounts. But what I'll do is I'll fire a 5-round group at the target I've got down there. It's not a professional target. It's one of those little targets that I'll show you actually. It's one of these type targets, right? So these ones, when you hit that, that's like a black paint covering on top. So when your pellet hits that, obviously it goes through it, but it'll mark it with yellow underneath. There's yellow marking underneath, so it gives like a splat. But you should be able to see the pellet holes, hopefully, if I hit the target. So it's not a professional target, just a cheapskate, fun plinking target, if you like. So the magazine now. 11-shot magazine. It's got like a little cover here that you put your nail in and pop it open, and then you can see when that flap drops down, you've got the 11 holes to receive the pellets, and it's spring loaded. So what you do is you turn it turn right round clockwise until it goes no further, and then put your first pellet in at the 6 o'clock. Once you got the first pellet in, should have done this earlier, should have got the lid off earlier. Ugh, that's a tight lid. Right, let's get that back open, and I can show you what I mean. So the drum magazine, the rotary magazine, all the way round clockwise till it stops. And then you put your first pellet in the 6 o'clock position at the bottom there, and they just drop in really neat. Once that first pellet's in, you can relieve the tension off the spring, because that first pellet will hold the drum in place. And then you just go round dropping in your pellets into each of the slots. I've got to tell you, these have got a good feel about them, these pellets. You can tell they're a quality pellet. I don't know how much the pellets are, but I think that from now on, I normally use Superdome, right? 2.2 Superdome. I think RWS, aren't they? Superdome from my other rifles for hunting and plinking, and they seem to be fine. But these have got a better feel to them. So I might have been converted actually I think I've been converted to these Range Masters. Now, I had a PCP a while back, a few years back now, a Hatsan PCP, and that had a little drum magazine, rotary magazine like this. And actually halfway around there was like a rubber ring, and that sort of held the pellets in place. But what it meant was, when you put them in, unlike this where you just drop them in and they just drop in the holes really easy, with the Hatsan, you had to force them in. And the tendency was, if you pushed it too hard and your thumbnail caught the skirt of the pellet, the lead pellet, it could deform the skirting on the pellet. And of course that meant when you fired that pellet, it wasn't going to fly as true, and you got a flyer. And so you had to be very mindful. This, you don't have that problem. Once you've got your 11 rounds, 11 pellets into this magazine, you're good to go. Now, let's have a little look. So, to load it then, safety catch is on, cocking lever fully to the rear, and that exposes the magazine housing so you don't get the firing pin, if you like, call it a firing pin, in the way. Make sure you got the magazine around the right way, which I have. And that just clicks in really, really easy. So what we're going to do now then, 5 rounds, grouping in your own time. Let's tab 59. Go on. Here we go. See how loud it is as well. Now the backstop, obviously you're going to get some noise from that because I'm using as a backstop a wheelbarrow turned up on its end. You'll see it when I go down there. And there's a rubber mat, floor mat in front of it. So what will happen is the pellet will hit the target. It will go through the rubber matting. That will open and allow the pellet to go through. It's a bit like a ballistic curtain. You get on an indoor range. The pellet will go through the target, through the rubber matting, hit the wheelbarrow steel on the inside, but that'll have slowed it down, and so it won't penetrate or go through the wheelbarrow. And then when the pellet ricochets off the back of that, it hit the back of the rubber matting as a gap and fall into the bottom. It's a pellet catcher basically, but it's a homemade one. So that's what we're going to do. So the noise, yes, you'll hear probably on the mic, maybe the ting as a pellet hits the wheelbarrow, but we'll see how quiet this is with this moderator on. Okay, let's have a butcher's hook. Pencil gone for a bird. It's windy, the wind's picked up. All right, yeah, a lovely sight picture. A little bit of focus. Okay. 5 rounds grouping. It's a little bit low, I think. Right, safety catch. 5 rounds. First impressions of firing this. The trigger is beautiful. It's so crisp. It's absolutely lovely. It's just, I don't know what it's set at. I don't know what pressure the trigger's set at. I know it's fully adjustable. Whoever set it up lovely for me. Trigger, very, very impressed. I'll tell you what I do like as well, the charging handle. It's really easy in that aim. You know, you fire it, it's so nice. You don't have to lose a sight picture, really. That is really smooth. Now, I fired 5 rounds. I kept the same point of aim, which was the bullseye, and they've dropped, it looks like they've dropped low and to the right, but not by much. But there again, like I say, it's not zeroed to me. With a little tweak, I could get that on. Now, this is a dodgy bit with my camera work, because what I've got to do is pick that up and get you down to have a look at the target. So, bear with me a moment. This is the tricky bit. Let's just take it very gently out of there if we can. Like that, without touching anything. And put you in me GoPro stick, or whatever you call it, selfie stick. Right, sorry about that. I've got no internet, I've got no technical skills, have I? So, as you can see, we're up here, 25 metres. I measured it with a tape. Down there, by the flag, is my wheelbarrow, my pellet catcher and my target. All mod cons here. But like I say, I'm not a mega air gun enthusiast. I'm just your average guy that likes an air rifle and does a bit of plinking and a bit of pest control. So I don't have it all set up. So here we go. Yes, you can see. Right, so obviously it looks like a massive spread, but the actual 5-round grouping holes are there. It's where the pellets have hit and the target's exposed to yellow underneath the black. So that's why it looks such a massive, but they are quite tight. So I don't think the grouping's too bad. And it's just off centre, low right. But it wouldn't take much to fix that. It wouldn't take much to fix that, and that's what I'll be doing. So I've got it for a couple more weeks yet. I'm going to get up the farm this week, hopefully, tweak the zero in. I might do the tweaking here, actually. Tweak the zero in for me here at 25 metres, and then take it up the farm and see what I can shoot up there. Maybe do a video up at the farm. I'll let you know. Still depends on the weather, etc. So, big thank you, Tony at Brocock, and also his assistant Hannah, who passed it all up and sent me down the lone rifle. Thank you very much. I will look after it and it will be sent back on time, all packaged up. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Tony. Thank you lot for watching me. Thank you those that have subscribed to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider it. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying consider it. It will help the channel grow. Till the next time, troops. And it won't be long. Remember, stay safe, especially with firearms and air rifles. Stay safe and remember, let's tab.